Hello guys, welcome to Copverse. So today we are going to solve a question which was asked in Deloitte. Before looking into the question, let's see what data we were given. So we were given a table called cricket nations. So if I run this query, then this is the table that we had. So it had only one column called nation name. So we have here, for example, 5 nations: India, Australia, England, Pakistan and South Africa. Now let's look into the question. So the question says, write a SQL query to generate all unique match combinations in the format nation A versus nation B. So the question is saying that if matches happen between these nations, and what are the possible combination of matches? The matches could happen between India versus Australia. It could be between India versus England and so on, right? It could be Australia versus England or Pakistan versus South Africa. So it wants us to give all the possible combinations in this format, right? So to understand how to solve this question, let me copy this data and put it in Excel, and we will see how we can solve it. So let us paste the data here and let me paste it in another column. Now we have to find this combination, that what all nations can have match. So India can have match with Australia, India can have match with England, it can have match with Pakistan, it can have match with South Africa. So if you see carefully, then we have to join this nation name with itself. So we have to do a self join here. And to obtain this self join, what we can do is we can make use of cross join in SQL. How? So what will cross join do is it will join all the rows of this left table with all the rows of this right table. So India will be joined with all these 5 nations, and then Australia again will be joined with all these 5 nations, and so on. For example, let's mark India. So if I put here, let's say nation 1 and here nation 2, then this India, which is in the left table, it will appear 5 times and it will join with all these values if we do the cross join. So India will join with India, India will join with Australia, England, Pakistan and South Africa. Now if we look at Australia, then what will happen? Similarly, Australia will also join with all the nations. So you will have Australia occurring 5 times here and it will join with all these 5 values. We can paste it here. So the cross, so Australia will join with India, Australia will join with Australia, England, Pakistan and South Africa. Similarly, other countries will join with all these 5 nations. Now this is what the cross join gives us. However, we don't want the combinations like India versus India. We cannot have a match like this, right? So I'm marking it with 0. Also, we cannot have this combination Australia with Australia. Right, so all the combinations where the same countries are appearing, we cannot have those matches, so we will have to exclude such rows. Also, if we look carefully, then here we have India and Australia, and here we have Australia and India. So both these things represent the same match, whether you say India versus Australia or you say Australia versus India. So we will have to exclude such rows as well. Now let's see how we can exclude such cases. So if we look at this combination India versus India, then both these strings are equal. So we have to exclude this. That means we have to put a condition that both these strings should not be equal. That is, nation 1 should not be equal to nation 2, right? And also, if both these nations are not equal, that means both these strings are not equal, then one of the string would be either greater than the other string. We can say one of the string would be less than the other string. And when we say less than or greater than in case of strings, then in SQL, how it will compare is it will give a greater number, or it will consider the string greater which appears later in the dictionary. You can think like that. For example, if we compare India and Australia, then India will appear later in the dictionary because it is starting with I, right? So this will be a greater string compared to Australia. So we can put a condition basically that string or nation 1 should be greater than nation 2, or we can also say nation 1 should be less than nation 2. This one condition itself will exclude all the cases which we want to exclude. So let's say we say nation 1 is greater than nation 2, then what will happen? This row will get excluded definitely because both these are equal, so this will get excluded. And similarly, if we talk about this row, then India and Australia, then in this case it will not get excluded, but this will get excluded. Australia is not greater than India, so out of these two combinations we will only preserve one of them. So we can use this logic to exclude such rows, right? So now let's jump to the SQL query and let's try to write the query. So we will write select from what? From cricket nations. Let's call it as N1, and then we will do cross join with what? With the same table, right? Cricket nations, and let's call it as N2. Now if I run this query, let's write star. Now if I run this query, let's see what output we get. So you can see you are getting two columns, nation name, and it's a cross join. India is joined with India, India joined with Australia, India joined with England, India joined with Pakistan, India joined with South Africa, and so on. This is the output that we have now. However, what output do we need? We need the output in this form: India versus England, India versus Australia. So we will have to put a concat condition here. We will have to put concat, and what we have to concat? We have to concat n1 dot nation name, and with we have to write this versus sign in between. So we'll put vs, and then we will put n2 dot nation name, right? So this is what the output would now look like. It will look similar to this, but yeah, we have to put one more thing here. We have to put the where condition, because you have to exclude such cases, right? India, and only pick one of the combinations of India and Australia, right? We will put the condition that we discussed, that n1 dot nation name should be greater than n2 dot nation name. So you can put it the other way also. You can put the less than sign also, so it will preserve only one of them. So now if we run this query, okay, also let's name this, let's call it as match. Yeah, now let me run this query. Oh, so we don't have a space in between. We can give a space here versus. Okay, now let me run this query again. So now you can see the output. Now you can see that you will have only one possible combinations of all the countries. I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.